Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1, here we go. So I'm going to try and do a manipulation thing here. I almost certainly won't get it. I'm not as consistent. No, in fact, I've already screwed it up. I tried to do what's called the snake sneak there. You wait a second, and the snake just jumps over you. The idea with the RNG manipulation is that you're meant to not take any damage up until beach, which obviously hasn't happened. So I've got a backup strat for it, it's fine, but the backup strat takes an extra minute or so. The RNG manipulation, as long as you take the same amount of hits every time, it's a few things. You've got to take the same amount of hits, kill the same amount of enemies, and if you are still on the same RNG seed, then you can predict what enemies will drop. And including like items and money and all that sort of thing. And the idea is that if you do a 5-minute string of 5 minutes, it's like 3 or 4 minutes, I think, of RNG manipulation, you can guarantee that you will get a boomerang on beach, which is like the first regular level of the game. I haven't done that, so I'm going to have to get a boomerang from somewhere else. The boomerangs in this game are really, really overpowered. And if you can get 2 of them, you can throw them both at the same time for double effect. So, yeah, I'm just sort of mashing my way through here now. Normally I would want to take exactly 2 hits in here. But yeah, now it doesn't really matter, so I'm just trying to barrel through as fast as possible. By ducking here and here, I can stay on the block that I was standing on, otherwise it would have knocked me off normally, which allows you for a slightly early escape. Because I didn't get the RNG manipulation, I also don't know how much money these guys are going to drop, but I'm hoping that they're going to give me at least 15. Okay, we got lucky and got exactly 15. 15 allows us to buy the first weapon in the game.
Wonder Girl. So you're just going to the beach first, aren't you?
Yeah,
So the safety heart's there, of course.
Safety heart. Yeah, we're getting the safety heart, and then we're going more or less straight to beach. We're going to get the weapon that we got the money for as well. If you're on the proper RNG seed, you skip the weapon and you go straight to beach, because I think you need the weapon to take more than 1 hit to work. Otherwise the RNG seed like falls off and you don't get the items that you want. Because I have practiced the RNG seed a fair bit, it does mean that I have a pretty good way of getting through beach really quickly, even if I'm not on the RNG seed. So it's just one of those things that I've practiced like more than a lot of the other parts of the game. So a lot of these jumps I've been practiced at a fair few times. Getting through those guys is particularly difficult without getting hit. Slight safety thing here. Normally this enemy here is the one that would drop the boomerang, but yeah, because we messed up and got hit a few times, that isn't the case. But yeah, slowing down to kill those guys is a bit of a safety thing. Otherwise we pretty much just skip everything. We had to go to all the way to the end of beach to get this, which is a key. Whenever I pick up a chest, I like trying to use Lizard Man's attack, and sometimes you get a couple of funny freeze frames. Alright, so because I just saved and loaded, the RNG seed is back to like a default value, so I can now manipulate again, and if I do everything exactly right in the start of the desert here, I can guarantee a boomerang drop off a different enemy. So I'm going to kill everything along the way. I'm going to take a deliberate hit from this flower coming up, and I'm going to kill these 2 things quickly, and that guy will always drop a boomerang. You actually have to kill both of them before the boomerang drops. So you have to kill the first one, which drops the boomerang, and then you have to kill the one behind him before the boomerang actually appears. And yeah, the safety strat is just to do that twice to get 2 boomerangs. You can run with 1 boomerang, but just for marathon safety, I'm going to grab 2. Sometimes I just expect to have 2 boomerangs, and I'll make really silly mistakes as a result of not having 2. So yeah, it's just a bit of a safety thing.
But also having 2 boomerangs just allows you to kill things faster as well, I guess, without having to stop. A lot of games nowadays, like probably within the last 2 years, have really heavily relied on like the RNG manipulation. Kind of any sort of game you can think of, whether it be a platformer or even an RPG, to like manipulate damage values or even item drops. Before then, we really just tried to run through games and deal with luck however we want to, but because games are so optimized now, people are actually looking for ways to save time, and really the only time is to just delve deep into the game and just understand it brick by brick.
Yeah, so the boomerang, on top of already doing a lot of damage, pretty much any other attack that you use in the game slows you down when you use it. Whenever I use the dragon's fire breath, I'll slow down a little bit. That doesn't affect the boomerang at all, so if you have the option, it's usually faster to kill something with the boomerang, even if it is just like a one-hit sort of thing. And you'll see it a lot. It's especially really good against enemies that would otherwise take, you know, 10 hits. A boomerang will just mince them down in no time. This is probably, despite it being so early, this is probably one of the sort of hairiest parts of the run, just because we haven't had a chance to buy potions or anything yet. So for sort of marathon safety, it's pretty important that you know where like all the there's a couple of like guaranteed health drops. That was one of them there, and yeah, just sort of knowing what things cause the most damage. Generally speaking, in this room, the fireballs that these things breathe don't deal much damage at all, but the heads themselves, if you get hit by one of those, they can take out. Oh, that was nice. Got a free potion there, which was good. Yeah, the heads themselves, if you like collide with them, they can deal like 1.5 hearts of damage sometimes. So you got to be pretty careful about those. Roth mentioned before the retro mode in the game. It actually saves time to switch to retro mode before bosses, because it skips a short cutscene. So yeah, you skip the cutscene by going into retro mode, so you actually get to see it a little bit in the run, which is nice. The game has retro visuals and audio, so you can change the audio. Yeah, the audio doesn't save any time though, unfortunately. So this boss, what happens is that he will charge at you and you can hit him 3 times. You want to hit the first 2 in the middle, and then you want to run back towards the start. The idea is that if you let him get to the middle, he'll go into a loop where he like breathes fire at you. So you want to do the first 2 attacks to sort of bait him over to the left, and then you want to hit him as far over the left as you can, and then he'll move over to the right. If he doesn't move over to the right, then he breathes his poison cloudy thing and wastes a whole bunch of time. But yeah, that went reasonably well. So now we've got Mouseman. We just save and quit out of there to save a bit of time. We just go straight to Mouseman's area. We don't need really any setup. I didn't actually notice. I actually got enough money for a backup shield, but I can get that a little bit later. So at the end of Mouseman's area is another like marathon safety area where there is a extra heart, so we'll end up having 3 hearts for the run, and you can buy potions there as well. So we'll buy the full. You can only have 3 potions at a time. We'll buy all 3, and we'll need 270 gold for that. We're also going to buy a weapon from a store that we're going to pass very shortly. So we'll get all of this money here, which will be enough for the weapon and about half the money we need for all the potions. Or if there is a chance also that I won't lose the one that I've got, but I'll still get enough money for all 3 just in case I lose the potion that I've got in my inventory or at the moment. In this area, you'll see a lot of the boomerang being used while I'm killing these skeletons, and you can see it just minces things straight up. These skeletons usually take a couple of hits to kill, and you don't even have to slow down for them now. I'm basically just hoping that the skeletons and the little, like, floor thingies will drop bags of money. Bags of money are worth slowing down for. Pretty much everything else isn't. Sorry. Gonna dual wield it. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yep, that should be good. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted there and I ran backwards and forwards because I knew it was important which one of those things I had to do first, but I couldn't remember off the top of my head. Basically, I had to get the I had to buy potions there, and the cost of potions depends on the amount of hearts that you have. So if you pick up the spare heart there, the potions suddenly cost about 3 times, well, not 3 times, it's probably like nearly double more. And I only had enough money to buy them at the sort of cheap rate, so... so this is the well. The well is not too bad, but it involves a fair bit of memorization because Mouseman can obviously walk on the roof or walk on the ground. That's pretty bad. You sort of have to preempt sort of where you're standing at any given point. I was meant to be on the roof there and I forgot. And, you know, even in the same sort of rooms, you can... there was a guaranteed heart drop there. Usually wait a second for it. It's actually particularly good because it sort of flies up to where you are. So you don't have to actually wait very long for it at all. But yeah, basically remembering whether or not you have to be on the roof or on the ground for these fights is really important. Otherwise, you'll just barrel roll straight into something sort of on your way. Coming up is a couple of ogres. I think they're yellow. I'm colorblind. I have no idea actually, but they look yellow to me. And they're really tough, and they'll deal, I think at this point, about 1.5 hearts of damage. If you're really good, you can he's being a little bit of a jerk. Yeah, if you're really good, you can just kill them with boomerangs, and it looks really easy, but they have a habit of, like, being propelled forward and backwards in really awkward ways. So I usually just throw the boomerangs, and then I get ready to, like, stand there and attack them with my sword as well, just in case, just to push them back a little bit. Yeah, I messed that up a little bit. You can do this room like incredibly fast by doing these double attacks. You pretty much don't have to slow down at all, but it's really, really risky, and these guys also deal about the same amount of damage as those other guys. It's about 1.5 or maybe 2 hearts, so you want to not get hit by them if you can at all avoid it. Pretty fancy looking platform room in here. It's not too hard once you get the memorization of it down there. It's meant to be on the ground there. Ideally, the boss coming up is really easy, but you can, it sort of varies a little bit in sort of the distance that you've got to attack it, and it does a decent amount of damage, so basically the idea is that I just want to have, for the Piranha Man section coming up, I just want to make sure that I've got 1 potion just in case. If I don't, I've just got to take it really, really careful in the next area. This boss is really, really boring. If there's any donations, feel free to go through those. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just going to be on this loop attacking him in this way. Yeah, his the distance at which he emerges from the ground varies a little bit, which can make it a little bit, I don't know, it's probably a little bit more difficult than it looks, but it's really not that difficult. Alright, so yeah, normally I would save and quit to skip this transform animation, but we have a key that we can get for free down here, which saves us 250 coins later on, so we wait for it and do it there. I'll go grab the shield, which I didn't grab before. This is just a bit of a safety thing. We actually don't buy, apart from that one, which is very optional, you don't buy a shield for the entire run, so buying that one there gives you a little bit more defense for the entire game, basically. Yeah, I'll be doing some...
Yeah, Spud'll have to concentrate a fair bit coming up just to get through here, but this is probably the major sequence break of the entire game. It differs between Sega Master System and this version because this does have like extra content, the Steam version. There's like 5 or 6 different areas that you can explore, so there's you've got like a walking animation and a swimming animation, and it turns out that if you're swimming, you can kind of get yourself out of the water by mashing left and right on the D-pad. It kind of works that way. But what happens is that when you're swimming and you go left to right, you actually float a little bit. And because of that, you can kind of just float into the air and just drift off the screen. So you'll see Spud doing that in a couple of screens' time. Yeah, so you need to not do that, Spud. You need to not die. Yeah, he fell into lava at a pretty good point, so he can heal. But you pretty much need a couple of like safety flasks to do this, because you're going to turn into Hawkman, and then Hawkman's going to go into the water, and he doesn't like water. But you'll see what I mean in a couple of screens. So he goes in here to pick up the armor that protects you from getting burnt by the lava. That's probably my favorite monster in the game. This skeleton dude. He looks really cool in the retro version. Yeah, him. Got a donation?
Hello, yes. We have one donation. Hello, 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 hello. Okay. We have a. Where's the money? Oh, there. We have a $54.06 donation from PSX Freak 101.
PSX?
And he says, hello from the backseat of a car hurtling towards AVcon. We'll be there soon, I swear. First time watcher, fourth time viewer. Shout outs to Spud, John with 1 H, John with no H, John with 2 H's, and John with an H and 2 N's. Good luck on dragoning all those traps, Spud. A question for Steve, though. What is your favourite movie and why is it beta test?
Beta Test is awesome. It's the best movie of all time. That's what you get when you go bowling with 4 friends and they don't turn up to say what their names are. They all just become John. It's Steve. Poor guy. Spud wants the mic back. He wants to talk.
I was just gonna go over again what happened there. Basically, I was mashing left and I was holding right on the D-pad and mashing left to fly. We flew into an area that's only accessible, only meant to be accessible by Birdman, and as a result of that, we were able to automatically transform into him because the game like double checks to make sure you're the right thing. So we're currently Birdman and we're not supposed to be. We're now going into the first area of the game in which you got cursed and lost all of your equipment, and we can now go and pick up all of our really good equipment from the start of the game. It also happens that this chest, when you open it twice, gives you a buttload of money, which will also be useful. So yeah, we're just going to sit here and wait for some money to fall into our laps. After that, I'm going to go right and we're going to pick up the legendary armor. That's another safety thing. Takes about 40 seconds, but it gives you the best armor in the game, which is really handy just to make sure that you don't die, basically. Yeah, I'll try and remember to equip it this time. One of my practices, I was wondering, why am I taking so much damage? And yeah, it was because I did that. Oops. I was only meant to hit that guy once. He's going to be in front of me and piss me off the whole time now. Thank you. I always expect that when you go through here the first time, that key automatically gets picked up for you, so I quite often forget that I've got to actually pick it up. Wow, that was annoying. Yeah, one of the reasons that you want to hold on to potions is for this area as well. The enemies in that area, before you get the armor, do lots and lots of damage, so taking a couple of hits there can be really bad news. So we now need to go sort of back to normal and complete the game sort of more as intended. We can technically go straight to the end now, but we won't have Lion Man's ability to hit blocks underneath him, so we'll get halfway through the final area and not be able to finish it. So we still need to go back and get Lion Man, but we can go and do it now without getting... we need to go and unlock Birdman properly, but we can do it now without unlocking Lion Man. Because our equipment is so, good. The game penalizes you very heavily for fighting a boss unintentionally. Like, you can, without any skips, without any, speedrun shenanigans, you can go up to this boss once you've unlocked Mouse Man and the Thunder Ring, which allows you to break blocks. But, damn it. You'll just get penalized so heavily on the boss that it's nearly impossible to beat under normal circumstances. And even in a speedrun, you can go there and you can take it on, and you could theoretically beat it, but the boss fight would probably take up to 10 minutes to beat, so it's actually faster to go around and sort of do it the slow way by picking up extra equipment and stuff. This area is really quite difficult to get through without being hit. I was actually hoping I was going to make it to this room where there's like a safety medical center thing that you can use. It's actually really easy to avoid. I just jumped slightly too early. Oh, God. I should have used the boomerang. Get out of my way. The boomerangs are really useful, but they're also very easy to lose. If you don't catch them, you don't get them back. So you have to make sure that you don't throw them off the edge of the screen too much, because if you throw one off the edge of the screen and then area transition, it'll just be gone. Also, if you jump sort of at the wrong time, you'll just see one fly straight past you. And because it's quite difficult to manipulate another one, it's you definitely want to hang on to the ones that you start with. Oops. So I just bought the Tasmanian sword there. The Tasmanian sword has a really handy ability that allows you to transform on the fly. Normally you have to go to these transformation rooms and there's like a, I don't know, it must be nearly 10-second cutscene for every transformation that you do. So if you're like Lizard Man and you want to become Birdman, you might have to jump on that thing 3 or 4 times, taking 10 seconds each time. So the Tasmanian sword saves a lot of time over the run. I'm going to use it once here to change into Piranha Man. And then we'll change back to the Legend Sword. Alright, so I went out of my way there to buy a safety potion. There is another safety potion at the end of this area. This area is pretty difficult, but because of the safety things that I have in place, I'm not going to take a huge amount of damage from a lot of this stuff. This room in particular is quite difficult to get through without slowing down a whole lot. Yeah, I went a little bit too far forward. Yeah, it's going to cost me a potion, that's alright. Yeah, if you turn back at the right time there, you can basically just block everything. It actually looks pretty cool, but I messed it up there.
So I've got a question. Why do you use Piranha Man here and not Mouse Man, who's shorter?
Sorry. Mouse Man can't actually reach this boss. I believe there's another weapon that you can get that Mouse Man gets a lot of attack power or very early in the game. And if he could hit this boss, it might be actually feasible to skip the entire Birdman thing and go straight here. But that was nearly a good lineup for the boomerang. Yeah, unfortunately Mouse Man simply can't reach the next boss. He's too short, so you can get there with all the equipment in the world, but yeah, you just won't be able to hit him. I think he can hit him, but it's like really, really precise. The practice I did before this run, I wasted my boomerangs really early on, so I'm sort of still in no boomerang mode. I should be just mincing these guys with boomerangs. Alright, so I just realized the audio behind me is much louder than the audio in front of me, so this boss might be difficult, because I've got an audio cue that I use to lock this guy into a cycle. I was meant to use the cutscene skip there, whatever. So basically, I'm going to sort of stun him with a fireball. Ooh, yeah, that audio is weird. It's okay. If I do good, that's what it's going to look like. If I do bad, I'm going to get hit. But basically, this guy counterattacks a lot. So you use the fireball or whatever spells you happen to have. And you just stun him once to sort of start the cycle. And then if you're good, you can just push him to the edge of the screen and do the most damage that you can. No, that was a waste. I might use one of these. You can lock him into the cycle with just normal attacks, but it's a fair bit harder. I'd actually like to hang on to both of these Thunderbolts, but I might just use it to get this boss out of the way. Yeah, see, I moved a tiny little bit too close there. Once he gets his like lightning attack off, it's quite hard to do it, but he's got so little health left that I might just try and mash my way through to getting the last couple of hits very uncoordinatedly. The first part of that went really well, so I'm quite happy with that. I've still got both my boomerangs. I was just thinking, after that transform, you can... I didn't see how much money I've got. I've got tons of money. Okay, good. After that transform, you can get extra boomerangs from a chest, and you can also pick up armor, which isn't as good as the legendary armor, but it's still quite good, so... So now we just need to get a quite annoying item in the game, to be honest. You only need it once for the speedrun. It's called the Magical Saber, and it allows you to create blocks out of these like star blocks that you can see in here. We literally need it for one block in the game, and we've got to go all this way out of our way in order to get it. Whoops. So we'll buy an extra potion since we've only got the 2, and then we're good for the final room. Final dungeons up here. There is I probably could have actually bought another lightning, but that should be fine. So we'll change to the magical saber, and if I do this right, you can actually transform it and break it in one go. Alright, so this is the Dungeon of the Tasmanian Sword. If you remember, the Tasmanian Sword allows you to transform on the fly. Oh good. That was unlucky. Well, unlucky followed by extremely lucky. I was actually hoping to get in front of that blue thing to skip a little bit, but that's fine. So yeah, if you're the world record holders of this will always be the right transformation at the right time. I'm a little bit less experienced than that, so see, I just transformed into Lizard Man when I meant to change into Birdman. But yeah, the record runs of this are really good because they know exactly how many times they have to transform for everything, and they'll just transform immediately at the right time every time. It's really impressive to watch. This is the room that I would have used the 2 lightning bolts. 2 lightning bolts will kill those clouds, but you can get a pretty similar effect just by stunning them to get past there. Meant to be Mouse Man. Whoops, accidentally transformed there. This room's really annoying to do fast. Sometimes you get through like that, and sometimes you just get locked in. This is probably the worst room in the run, if I can change into Lion Man correctly. I just take this very slowly and carefully. The record run gets through here via magic fairies and pixie dust. I don't know how, she just doesn't get hit, and she does it, and it's amazing. Oh, come on. Yeah, very hard room to do fast. Most of these other ones we can sort of just fly through, but there are a couple of things we have to transform just for breaking these blocks, for example. This is sort of the game's way of checking, I suppose, whether or not you've actually got all of the transformations. Because of all of the safety mechanisms that I've gone through, I can actually take a fair bit of deliberate damage here to save time. I'd like to have a potion for the final boss, but it really doesn't matter that much. The last boss is very random though, unfortunately, so sometimes you can just get bad luck and it'll hit you a bunch of times. It does do a fair bit of damage, so... Oh, that was good. That's a really hard door to get into without losing time. If you're wondering how you would do this without the Tasmanian Sword, there's hidden doors everywhere. If you've seen me skip a door, like some of them aren't hidden, if you've seen me skip a door, it would have been a transformation room door. But obviously, because the transformation animation is so long, we just skip all that. Very important. We've got to change back to the legendary sword. Oh wait, we've got to change to Lion Man first, and now change to legendary sword. Skip the cutscene, and because we're pretty much kitted out, and we're the right character at the right time with the right weapons, this boss should only take 4 hits to kill. Oh, I could have got another hit then. That would have been it. Sometimes he comes down and sometimes he doesn't. Alright, and that's it. The time will be when the Ankh that falls from the sky hits the ground here. And there we go. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the run, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of ASM. Thanks for watching.